It's close to me. That's
It's the power of SJ
effect. Yeah. It's the SJ, you see?
Yeah.
Look, SJ.
Already?
SJ.
Oh my God.
SJ.
What's
SJ.
your SJ?
But it stands for Sarah Joint.
Joint.
She won't tell
That's
us.
my maiden name.
Ah, I love that.
Joints?
Joint. I never said that.
As in the, you know.
Oh God, this is going to slippery slope down. Have another melon ball before you speak.
Where did you get that?
I don't. Do you want some?
No, I'm good. It looks great though. They've like locked the food down away from people.
So what have you been talking about?
You.
That's where we started.
What, in terms of, because I know you don't really want to give anything away with this, and I'm very grateful for that because I'm fascinated with all of that type of stuff. Is it the type of secret that's revealed that could potentially, like, is this something that would be a global scale that would cause like life as people know it for them to question everything? Because I know a lot of the archaeology in that region of the world, there's always the conspiracy theories.
You know, an amazing thing is that only this city is so old and so golden, and yet only 5% of it has been excavated. And in the room, we allowed ourselves the freedom to imagine what's hiding beneath the 95% that hasn't been excavated. And it's amazing. And the 5% that has been tells us so much about who we are. So yes, the stakes are very high, and they are about changing the world as we know it.
I know that.
You don't want to share your chair.
There's a spare chair.
No.
Oh, I know that sometimes archaeologists in real life run into trouble in Jerusalem and Israel from the extremely conservative sects that don't want anything disturbed. Was that something that your characters deal with, or did you have to deal with it as a production in terms of that?
Our characters deal with it. They're digging in places that are holy, and they're digging in places that are political. So of course they deal with it. What we found out from our research in dealing with real archaeologists is that it's so much more boring than our show. It's really just rushing.
Takes 3 years. And found some.
One of my last days in Israel, I was in Jaffa, and there's a dig going on there, and I was like, "Oh look, it's a real dig! It's a real dig!" And I was like,
Yeah. A lot of buckets of dirt being carried out.
"You should come with a brush."
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really not a
It's
dig.
a brush. I, you know, in the research, I met with the head of the dig in one of the biggest digs in Israel, Megiddo, Armageddon. And I'm like, what are the exciting things that you found down there? And he goes, oh my God, 3 years ago, we found cinnamon. Fucking found cinnamon. I'm talking about the ark. I'm talking about Christ. I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking, what do you mean you found cinnamon? And he goes, do you know what that means? It means that China, that we thought was closed, was really open and blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Yeah, he was very excited about it. It was clearly very important.
Wouldn't make a good episode
it has huge implications. It's just not. It's not very sexy, but it has huge implications.
So I know
And then over in England, they found it to the third body when they were doing a shopping mall.
So in answer to her question at the end of the series, this whole thing is going to change the world globally. Cinnamon. Spices.
That's the
You heard it here first. Spoiler alert, people. Spices.
I'm feeling a doom theme. The spice must flow.
Spice must flow.
Well, SJ, talk a little bit about directing and kind of what the process of putting the words to the film was for you.
Yeah, well, on a show this epic, and with so many different worlds, that was a challenge, and it kept me awake a few nights for sure. You know, we've got 3 very distinct worlds. We have Norway, we have Jerusalem, and we have a compound in Arizona. And I needed each of them to sort of embody tonally and atmospherically what the story was, but each of them to be distinctive. So that when you're watching the TV, you know immediately when you're in a different world, but I didn't want it to make it look like you switched the channel. So it was about really balancing a look and a visual style to the show. And because it's a conspiracy, and because we're holding back information from you, that became a big part of the storytelling for me. I like the idea of using foregrounds and focus and where I shift the focus to, and I don't always give you everything instantly in the frame. Sometimes I make you work a little bit for it, or sometimes I'll get there eventually. I like you to just be pulled in by it. So there's a lot of heavy foregrounds and a lot of negative space that we're showing certain things, and it's making you think about what I'm seeing and where is it in the space. There's also a very strong colour palette. Each world has its own colour. Norway is very green. It's very calm. Green's a very calming colour, and I feel that what's going on in Norway is this. It's a very, very big part of the story, but it's such a slow burn. It's the calm before the storm. It's a very, very slow burn going on there. Then in Arizona, it's this compound that's windowless, doesn't see the outside world, and it's very steely. Their take on things is very brittle. They see things a certain way, and it's very rigid. So I wanted to imbue that in not only the building of it, of the set, which is very linear, lots of long perspective lines, but also in the steely colour palette I used. So that's on very, very dolly shots, so it's very steady lenses. And then when we go to Jerusalem, it just has an energy. You can't deny it. You arrive in the old city and there's something in the air. It's this extraordinary energy, this excitement almost. And I wanted to imbue that within the filmmaking. So I used handheld camera in Jerusalem. So that then shows the difference in the worlds. But the focus and the use of foreground is present in every world. And then I just went one more step, if I can geek out a bit more, is I then use different lenses in each place. And each lens helped tell the story. So we used 90-year-old lenses for Jerusalem because I felt they were the oldest lenses I could probably get away with using. And that place is so historical, I was barely scratching the surface of it. But it gives it this real extraordinary feel that you're seeing something now, but there's something slightly old about it. There's something that's slightly off about it, which is very exciting. And then in the compound, it's very crisp. They're shot on super-sized lenses, which are still old. They're from the 70s. German lenses that are very crisp and very clean, and they handle light beautifully. You need very low light to use them, and they work very, very well in this steely world. And I used a mixture of the two in Norway because it's kind of this middle ground. And so you put all those worlds together with the foregrounds, with the the use of the framing, and then on top of it, I'd say if you want to look out for something extra, is the colour red. It's no coincidence that Emma's hair is bright red. Red plays a key colour in the show, and if you look out for the red, then you might get a little bit more out of it.
Is it cinnamon red or?
It's cinnamon.
It's all about the cinnamon.
It's all about the cinnamon. Yeah, it's very red. It's very red, and I use red very sparingly. I use primary colours very sparingly. I wanted to get this sense of everything being muted by its world. Everything is within the colour palette and tone of its world. So I'm excited, but until I came up with that, I'll be honest with you, it kept me awake every night. I was like, how am I going to do this? And then even until the editing process now, until I've looked at it, I thought, okay, this seems to be coming together quite nicely. That you're constantly worried and juggling as a director. You have this vision, and then of course you have to have this reality of what's in my mind. I've seen the movie a number of times in my head, and now I have to realise that with a whole 150 crew and all these new locations. So it's not a challenge for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. But I clearly get a kick out of it, and I'm very excited. And I think I've certainly pushed myself to do something sort of more epic and out there for a TV drama because I felt the script demanded it. It was like it sounds slightly, hey nonny nonny, but it's like a calling. The script sort of speaks to you in a way. It's like Carol was talking about the story coming to you. The script kind of it's just what I see, and so it was a matter of then taking that and just bringing that to the screen, which is hopefully going to be very exciting and something new for the audience.
How exciting is television right now? Because there's so many outlets to have really fun, engaging stories. Where before you either had HBO or the networks, and there weren't a lot of access for creators and developers and writers. And now you have like AMC opening the door with Mad Men and Breaking Bad. Now you have USA, which is usually known for like SVU reruns. Really getting to bringing in these really talented filmmakers in to tell these really cool stories. It has to be really exciting.
It's incredibly exciting. It used to be that, like you said, you had HBO and you had the networks, and the networks were most of it. And the networks, you could sell one of three types of shows: a law show, a medical show, or a cop show. And that was kind of it. And so now the sky's the limit, and you can take the story you want to tell and find a place to tell it. So I'm excited that USA has stepped into this world of really working with filmmakers like Tim and Giddy. I think it's
they were excited to go bold, and it is great. I mean, look, for a creative and an artist, television is a very exciting landscape. I mean, there seems to be, you can find yourself at home somewhere. I mean, I recently did Orange is the New Black for Netflix, which is a whole other, who knew that was going to explode the way it has, and what extraordinary shows they're doing, because you know, they give the creators a real voice, and I think that's what makes it very exciting. You know, I think it gives the opportunity to kind of think of more bold, extraordinary ideas, the things that you may not have done before when there's a limited market. You know, now there's more opportunity to do so. So what's great about it, and exciting about it, is sometimes those small ideas or those kind of left field ideas that might not have made it onto a network and maybe wasn't quite in HBO's palette is now finding a home and bursting out. I mean, people have said the golden age of television, you know, so I'm not the first to say it, but I do think we are in an incredibly exciting time. TV is kind of where it's at, and you've just got to look at Comic-Con. I mean, I was overwhelmed. It's my first Comic-Con. I sat on that panel, that audience, you just go, these guys love TV, and it's so exciting to know that what you do is finding an audience, you know, because ultimately you do it because you love it, and I do it because I don't know what else I'd do if I didn't. But the fact that there's an audience out there, my God, it fills me with joy and hope that I've got a bit longer in this career. You know?
Is there like in the room talking about how the series plays out? Did it change from kind of where Tim and Gideon thought it would get started to kind of how the show has progressed, or as the
honestly no.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wonderful thing about it. They came in having written a great pilot, and then and had a very strong idea of where they wanted it to end. Not the ending, not how it all plays out or what the specifics of that are, but a real strong idea of this is where we get to. And so we always had a true north. So no, it really hasn't. It's what the advantage that we had that was so wonderful, and you never get it in television, is we had a big long lead time. We started doing this show, we started breaking stories in January, and so we wrote a bunch of the episodes, and then by the time we shot the pilot, we were able to look at all these scripts and go, okay, we could see that mystery better there. All right, we can fix that. So we had this time to really make it a whole piece, right? So I think it holds together, and it has an integrity, literally an integrity that most shows don't get to have.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And when you have a conspiracy, I would say that would be incredibly valuable.
Well, isn't that where so many shows go wrong, where you're like, this sounds awesome, and then you're like, you're just making it up, right? Like, I just get that you're making it up.
Yeah.
Oh, you found yourself again, you know?
Right.
So hopefully we've avoided that, you know? But
I'm excited. I wanted to be an archaeologist, but yeah, it's really boring.
it is. So you know what? Being an archaeologist on television.
Exactly.
Where's all the boys?
Not Indiana Jones.
Apparently. Why wait 3 years for cinnamon, right? When you can have it in scene 1.
Exactly.
Right. Boom, cinnamon.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the
That
next
little
episode.
montage of cinnamon needed to be.
That is the tagline, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay.
Right. Dig. Boom, cinnamon.
Dig. Hashtag.
Hashtag boom. Hashtag
Come
cinnamon.
on, lady.
You know,
Hashtag cinnamon.
Got it.
That's
season
it.
premiere, we will be.
Hashtag cinnamon.
These are the only people who will
guys
understand.
are-
Let's see if it's
That's it.
trending anywhere. There's always somebody who's like, it must mean something.
Somebody, yeah.
I love cinnamon.
If I get cinnamon in the show somewhere, I want you. I'm going to know in the pilot, try and get cinnamon in there somewhere.
What do they
In
know
the
that
market.
we
I know, it's
don't?
for you guys. It's for table 2.
Someone's
There'll be cinnamon, and someone's going to say, "Give me table 2," and you know,
Table 2.
you know who we're talking to, people.
And then there's going to be whole conspiracy theories about what it means.
Yeah,
Whole
exactly.
internet pages.
Yeah.
dedicated.
And we're going to be sitting over here going,
Like,
And
cinnamon
I'm going to go
I
and
can't
ask
tell you.
them.
Yeah.
it's a spoiler, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not allowed to say.
It might mean something.
Yeah.
SJ.
SJ.
Hashtag SJ.
Hashtag SJ. Hashtag SJ.
Right. Oh, you have to do it.
I was going to go. Cool. Any more for us?
Well, we do at Nice Girls TV. We do a spotlight on women who work behind the scenes, who directors.
Awesome.
I know. So,
That's what we do. Look at us.
So obviously we have one coming up on YouTube. So I wondered if you could just talk to me a little bit about working together and being women in the industry kind of in general. We don't like to dwell on that a whole lot because sometimes that can come across as negative. So more like, yay, women in the industry.
Can I tell you one story? It's funny because SJ is the director, and she's incredibly busy. There's nobody busier on a set than the director. So I didn't spend that much time with SJ on the set. We
Just banter.
just banter, just hey, but Gail Berman was the producer of this show, and one of the producers, and Gail. I don't know if you know who she is. Gail Berman has had every
Awesome woman.
huge job that is possible to have in the entertainment industry.
She has done Hollywood.
She is
Hollywood.
She's
in a way.
ran Fox, she ran the studio, the network, she ran Paramount Movie Studio. She's done it, right? And so we go to Israel, and Gail is there. And I said to myself and to one of the other writers, who's a woman, I said, this is an extraordinary opportunity. Gail Berman is living in our hotel, and she's an amazing font of knowledge, and she's also just kind of awesome. So we made it our job to get to know her, and we did, and we spent a lot of time with her, and I totally consider her a friend now, and she's an extraordinary woman, and it was one of those times where I don't spend a lot of time saying what's it like to be a girl, and I just go into a room and do my thing, but it was so wonderful and positive to sit with her, spend time with her, and just hear her talk about her job and what she's done and stories over the time. And it actually this job actually did become one of those moments where I was like, yeah, there's some awesome women out there, and I want to, when I come in contact with them, I want to make sure I take the time to get to know them.
I was really pleased when I saw it.
No, you were busy.
Yeah.
I mean,
And now I'm
not
stalking.
one cup of coffee. I mean, like not even a sparkling water.
No, but you were staying at my hotel. That's
Well,
the
that's
problem
true.
too.
No, that's true.
That's the secret.
Yeah, you only get to be friends if you stay at the Hilton.
That's right. Now that you're not directing anything right now, it's going to be like this.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, Carol. Yeah, okay, kitty. Yeah, no, it is fun. I mean, it is fun. But again, I suppose some people say to me, "Gosh, you're one of the few women that do action," and I'm like, okay, I kind of don't get it because it's like, what's it like to be a female director? I'm like, well, I don't know what it's like to be a male director.
Yeah, exactly.
So all I know is I just love what I do and I'm passionate about it, and I just try and go to set and knowing as many answers as I can. I'll never know all of them, and I think it's healthy to be open to, you know, topics of conversation, discussions about character and everything else, you know. And I think, but I do think what women bring to it is we're pretty good multitaskers. And it's one thing that I've realised I can sort of be having a conversation with Jason and still be listening to what's going on and not knowing why that's not being moved to there because it needs to be. So, you know, I'm pretty much on everything, which might get a little bit annoying at times, but I just love it, and I probably actively sort out challenging scripts. I like challenges. I don't necessarily want it to be easy. I'll regret saying that out loud. And
I'm going
Tim
to tell
will
you,
go,
Carol's
"Yeah,
over here going, okay, I
it's
get
going to be a
this."
really challenging show.
yeah, it's going to be really challenging, but it's kind of it's just fun, you know, because it's the bigger the challenge is, the bigger the sense of achievement, and this was epic. I mean, and it, you know, and there was a lot of balls and plates juggling and you know and spinning in the air, and so. You know,
We were talking on the way over here about, because I was saying the director's job, he or she has to hold the line on the quality and on what's going to go on screen. They have to hold the line, and you've got a lot of people telling you we can't afford it, or we don't have enough time, or that's not how I see it. You've got a lot of people doing that, and SJ as the director, that's one of her jobs. And as a woman, I was just saying, as a woman, it would be hard for me in some ways because you are used to making sure everybody's okay, and I mean, I don't know if all women are like that.